Hello, there was a union rally today outside the Victorian Premier's office in response to her announcement that she's going to cut public service jobs.
What we heard last week was that 3,000 public sector workers were going to get the top. What do you think of that? That's right, comrades. We begin by acknowledging.
This comes at a very interesting time, so please stay tuned because I want to tell you what we can do about it at the end. At the moment, Peter Dutton and the Liberals have made it part of their election campaign to cut public service jobs. The jobs of people who deliver essential government services we all rely on, like Medicare. The federal Labor government and the union movement have naturally rallied hard against this, slamming Peter Dutton for this threat to the public sector. However, at the same time, as I mentioned before, the Victorian Labor government is currently doing exactly the same thing that Peter Dutton has promised he'd do if elected. Jacinta Allen is cutting jobs in the Victorian public service. Public sector jobs are incredibly important because they're jobs that we all rely on, and jobs that the private sector simply will not do because they're not profitable. They are jobs that cannot make some corporation a profit because they only exist to provide a public good. We know what happens when we try to privatise things that should only exist for the public good and not for profit. The fact a Labor government is doing exactly the same thing as a potential Liberal government is promising to do if elected is pretty embarrassing, and it demonstrates the importance of a strong union movement. We need a world where our union movement is so strong and so militant that it does not matter who's in power. One where our standards of living continue to improve due to our industrial action against the bosses and those in power. One where we can make a world in which every single person is able to thrive instead of the wealthy few, and one where we can look after every single person. And that's really what I want to talk about now. In order to get our union movement to this place, we need to join our unions, and we as members need to force our unions to be militant in order to fight for our interests. The way that we do that is through struggle. It's through protests, it's through strikes, and it's by organising in our workplaces, in our schools, on our university campuses, and in our streets. We know that our wages go up when we strike more, and so does our union membership. It was great to see the Victorian branch of the CPSU's leadership out there today protesting against the Labor government, especially considering they're literally all Labor Party members, but there was a very concerning element to their involvement today. There's an upcoming election to the Victorian branch of the CPSU, and rank and file members don't think their union leaders are doing enough to represent their interests. As a result, these members have decided to organise and contest the election. Members organising to contest union elections is always a good thing. It's good for democracy, it's good for our union movement as a whole, and it's been 31 years since the current secretary of the CPSU Victoria was elected, so members feel like it's time for a change. However, something dodgy is afoot. This morning before the rally, the Assistant Secretaries held a meeting with the Victorian Trades Hall Council and described the rank and file ticket as a hostile takeover of a union. Now, this is a very interesting way to describe CPSU members engaging in democratic processes within their union. And in fact, it's something that literal authoritarian governments say when they experience a democratic challenge to their leadership. At the rally today, after the meeting, CPSU organisers were taking photos of members handing out flyers regarding A Voice for Members, the rank and file group contesting the election. One organiser prior to this was asking a member to reveal who else was in the group contesting the election. That particular member felt like they were being threatened during this questioning, and it's unclear why the CPSU's paid and unelected staff might be looking for this information, but I certainly have my thoughts. Rank and file members of a union should be encouraged to participate in their union democracy and not be intimidated for doing so. In fact, on the first page of the union's rules, it states, "Democratic control of the branch resides with the members who can, by virtue of provisions elsewhere in the rules, contest elections." These members are fighting for more democracy in their union, and at the same time they're fighting against the Labor government's attack on their jobs. It's a pretty massive struggle, but they're doing it. So I want to tell you what you can do to support them and how you can join the struggle with them. We'll be protesting against the Allen government's cruel decision to cut public service jobs once more tomorrow, Tuesday the 4th of March at 5:30 p.m. outside Parliament House. If you're a union member, we want you to show up and show some solidarity to the workers that will be affected by these cuts cuts, as well as the rest of the working class who will inevitably suffer whenever the public sector is gutted. If you're a public servant, it's really important to get out and show this government how you feel about them cutting your job, and it's even more important to join your union. You can join the CPSU or any union via the link in my link tree, so please do that, and make sure to follow and get involved with A Voice for Members organising. For too long, our union leaders have been afraid to engage in militant industrial action against the government when Labor is in power because they think the Labor Party is our friend. This is simply not the case. It was a Labor government who sent the military to violently break the 1949 coal strike. It was a Labor government who deregistered the BLF in 1986. It was a Labor government who broke the pilot strike of 1989. It was a Labor government who sent the CFMEU into administration last year, and it's a Labor government who is demolishing public housing and cutting public sector jobs today. The Labor Party is no friend of the trade union movement. It's us who make it up, so join your unions, get involved and get organised so we can fight for a better world. We have nothing to lose but our chains. Love you all.